Well guys, we are now well over 2 months into Season of the Lost, and what better way to celebrate than putting a spin on a series I started about 5 months ago and taking a look at the top 10 most used exotic weapons inside of PvE for Season 15. If you haven't watched my video on the top 10 most used legendaries for Season 15, I'll make sure to link that down in the description for those of you guys that are interested. If you're new to this style of video, we basically use data gathered by Destiny Tracker to see what's most popular in the community right now. We go over the weapon list from 10 to 1, discussing how to get said weapons, what makes them so good, and why they might be as popular as they are. As we all know, with every season comes a new sandbox. Last season we had a sandbox filled with grenade launchers thanks to the mod Breach and Clear, and this season we have a sandbox filled with fusions thanks to the mod Particle Deconstruction. So the most popular weapons in the community right now are definitely going to be something the likes of which we've never seen before. Now before jumping into it, if you're new to the channel or just enjoy the content today, definitely feel free to like and subscribe. I took a minor break from the internet recently, so any help against the YouTube algorithm eating my channel alive would be greatly appreciated. With all that said though, let's go ahead and jump into this. Now to start today's video off, at number 10 we have by far one of my favorite and in general one of the most slept on exotics in the game, the Risk Runner 900 RPM SMG. Now this weapon comes in at around a 0.5% usage rate across the community, but don't let that fool you, as a Risk Runner is an absolute monster. This weapon comes from the New Light quest when you first start the game, and so does its catalyst. Just complete your quests as they're given to you, and you'll eventually be given the option to do the Risk Runner mission, and shortly after, get its catalyst from the Gunsmith. Now, the gameplay you're seeing in the background isn't with some jacked up account at in-game, it's actually me playing on my free-to-play account, which I stream on at twitch.tv/demonjoefrance if you're interested, and you'll notice that I'm absolutely slaying out. Now, although I think Risk Runner is an absolute banger of a weapon, I'm actually surprised to see it in the top 10. For reference, it just barely beats out one of the newest exotics in the game, Lorentz Driver, but why is that? If I had to guess, both the 30th anniversary event and Witch Queen have a ton of people excited, and many are either coming back to the game or just starting out in Destiny, and since Risk Runner is Kinderguardian's first exotic, it kinda makes sense with the timing that Risk Runner finds itself in the top 10. Now, for those that don't know what Risk Runner does yet, it has a buff known as Arc Conductor, which says that after taking arc damage, the weapon becomes more powerful, you resist arc damage, and kills extend the timer of said buff. This is complemented by the perk Superconductor, which says that when Arc Conductor is active, your bullets chain lightning and also return to the magazine. And if you're ever thinking, well, what if there's no enemies to deal arc damage to me? Then, well, just do this. So yeah, Risk Runner absolutely slaps, and if you're not already using it, then what are you waiting for? It's an absolute beast in casual content and even shines in master content like the Fallen Saber GM, so it definitely deserves to be in the top 10, and I'm honestly glad to see it here. Now, moving on from Risk Runner, here at number 9 we have the most troublesome weapon Destiny 2 has ever seen. The Telesto Fusion Rifle, and this weapon sits at around a 0.8% usage rate across the community. Now, I'm gonna be honest, I'm not really sure why this weapon is even close to top 10 right now, but I'll give my best theories as to why. First up, Particle Deconstruction. Get used to hearing about this mod because that's what Season of the Lost is all about. This artifact mod basically states that dealing damage with any kind of fusion will debuff the target you're shooting at and can stack up to 5 times. So naturally, with this being a fusion, one that's from the world loot pool mind you, many people might be using it just due to it being such an easy fusion to get your hands on, and a pretty decent one at that. My other theory is that this weapon is used so much simply because people are trying to break the game with it. I mean, look at this. This is a 20+ minute documentary from Evan F about how many times Telesto has broken this game. And since that video's upload, Telesto's broken the game at least 5 more times to boot. Either way, Telesto is actually a pretty good fusion. I'm just surprised to see it so high. Now, for those that don't know what it does, basically its fusion bolts stick to both surfaces and enemies before blowing up, and it makes it a pretty easy weapon to use. Combine this with Telesto's perk Harbinger's Pulse, which says that multi-kills automatically reload Telesto in your kinetic weapon, and you got yourself an ad-clearing machine, as I'm sure you gathered from the background footage. You can also increase Telesto's ammo reserves and mag size with its catalyst, which you will find inside of Master and Legend Lost sectors. So yeah, Telesto at number 9, it's a gun that breaks both the game and the popularity charts among Guardians that are out there. Now, moving on from Telesto, we have one of the most powerful weapons on this list, and I'm very surprised to see it this low, the Sleeper Simulant, with a usage rate of about 1.15%. Now, this weapon is a free-to-play exotic that you can actually pick up from the exotic kiosk in the tower, and it's one of the best DPS options inside Destiny 2 right now, assuming you can hit your shots. Just like with all fusions on this list, Sleeper is going to benefit greatly from the particle deconstruction mod, although in Sleeper's case, before using it for boss DPS, it's best to apply the debuff of the mod with another fusion, since this one fires a single shot per charge. Now, Sleeper is known for its crazy amount of damage per shot, so with us being in a fusion rifle meta, there's no telling why it's present on this list. It's a bit lower than I expected though, but that's probably due to it being difficult to use in all scenarios. Sleeper is one of those weapons that require really good aim to use, but assuming you can hit your shots, you're looking at some of the highest DPS in the game. This weapon is already great on its own, but like all weapons, its catalyst makes it much better, as it increases both your ammo reserves and gives you faster charge time. And if you're wanting to get your hands on Sleeper's catalyst, you'll find it in the end chest inside Nightfall Strikes. All in all, Sleeper is a fantastic DPS option this season, especially for free-to-play players, and is currently my go-to option inside raids like Garden of Salvation and even Vault of Glass. Pick this thing up and use it again if you haven't in a while, as it might surprise you. Up next from Sleeper Simulant, we have one of my favorite exotics since Witherhoard, the Agger's Scepter. This trace rifle comes in at a 1.20% usage rate, and is the best stasis weapon in the game in my opinion. For those out of the loop, Agger's Scepter is the quest exotic here in Season of the Lost, and I'll leave a link down below to my own personal guide on how to get your hands on the weapon if any of you still haven't tackled that quest yet. Once getting your hands on the weapon, Agger's Catalyst is available as a random drop from Astral Alignment chests, so just run a few of those until your eyes bleed unless you have great RNG and get it first try. I did not. Now, when it comes to the popularity of this gun, it's pretty safe to assume its usage rate is so high because of it being new, but I'd also say its popularity is highly due to Elemental Well mods. With Warmind Cell mods receiving a nerf this season, and Elemental Wells getting both buffs and new really good mods, I can definitely see why Agger's is so popular. It's by far the most versatile of the stasis weapons, as this weapon's function just makes its synergy with stasis related mods unmatched. For those that don't know, Agger's Scepter's trait says that final blows with this weapon generate a slowing burst around the defeated target. This basically allows for some crazy amounts of crowd control and ad clear that's even further helped by the perk Rhaega's Refrain, which feeds ammo back into your mag. Because of Agger's ability to intrinsically slow and freeze targets without the need of a perk like Headstone for example, it can make for some really good stasis builds when utilizing the Elemental Well mod, Elemental Shards. This combined with the Aspect Glacial Harvest on Warlocks can make for some really nasty stasis builds. Also, did I mention that the Catalyst turns Agger's into an icy death beam that can murder entire planets in mere seconds? Moving on from Agger's Scepter, we have one of, if not the best, ad-clearing primary weapon in the game, the Trinity Ghoul. This weapon has a usage rate of just about 1.65% and packs a menacing punch when trying to clear out groups of enemies. Trinity Ghoul is a world loot exotic, making it pretty obtainable, but was never that widely used until one fateful day where its catalyst finally started dropping inside Vanguard strikes. Now, Trinity Ghoul on its own is a bow that's known for shooting 3 arrows at a time, hence the name, while also having an electrically charged arrow fired after every headshot kill thanks to its perk Lightning Rod. However, that all changed when the catalyst dropped, as Trinity Ghoul went from a precision weapon with ad clear capabilities to a kill enemy then shoot at the ground an endless amount of times for unlimited ad clear kind of weapon. Basically, the catalyst makes the Lightning Rod perk activate off of any arc final blow instead of specifically headshot final blows. This means that you can continually fire anywhere once you get the perk active, and the arc lightning will continue to apply and refresh itself when it gets a kill. Now, Trinity Ghoul being in the top 10 makes sense for how good of a weapon it is, but something tells me it's so high up for other reasons. If you know, then you know. Regardless though, Trinity Ghoul, just like Risk Runner, is a fantastic primary weapon for just about any player in any activity, and I'm glad to see it on here. Now, next up from Trinity Ghoul, we have everybody's favorite chainsaw sword, the Lament. This bad boy comes in with a usage rate of just under 2%, and despite nerfs in the past, still stands as the best sword in the game by far. If you don't already have this sword, you get it from running through all the Beyond Light campaign missions, and it's pretty much worth your time, especially this season. Now, why is Lament here at number 5 on the list? Well, when taking a look at the artifact mods this season, we're pretty limited on what options we have for anti-barrier. Literally, all we have this season is barrier auto rifle. Although, that doesn't mean we can't use weapons that intrinsically have anti-champion properties attached to them, and that's where Lament comes into play. I personally have been getting a lot of use out of this sword this season, not only because it's one of your only anti-barrier options, but also because of the artifact mod Passive Guard. This mod states that you take reduced damage when holding a sword, and you can definitely feel the difference when using a weapon such as Lament, which is focused on running up the targets and bursting them down. There isn't much else to say about Lament, it's just a really good sword that even further shines this season, thanks to both an artifact mod and the lack thereof. Moving on from the Lament, we have ourselves an exotic that may have caused more pain to players than good, and that's simply because of its awful RNG drop chance. Here at number 4, we have ourselves the Vex Mythoclast. With a usage rate of 2.32%, Vex nearly makes itself into the top 3, but not close enough to seal the deal. Vex Mythoclast, for those that don't already know, is the raid exotic from the free-to-play raid Vault of Glass. It's an RNG drop from Atheon Encounter, and its catalyst can be gotten by, like, standing on some plates and shit. I don't know, it's a pretty trippy experience. Now, as you've probably gathered by now, Particle Deconstruction is a mod. Vex Mythoclast is a fully automatic fusion rifle. Combine the two, and you quite literally have the best primary weapon in the game right now. Like, seriously, this thing is busted with a capital B. Going over some functions of the weapon, obviously being full auto is one of the main things, but Vex also comes with a perk called Temporal Unlimited, which allows you to build stacks off of kills and overcharge your weapon into a linear fusion mode. So kill a few enemies, prime your next big health target with some full auto shots, overcharge your gun, then lay into him with some extremely high damaging fusion bolts. Vex Mythoclast this season is just straight up a monster. It got a buff right at launch, it can be paired with Particle Deconstruction, and the rest is history. Casual content, master content, quite literally taking on God himself, it doesn't matter. Vex Mythoclast can currently do it all right now, so it earns its place in the top 10. Alright ladies and gents, here we are in the top 3. And what better way to kick things off than with my personal favorite exotic since Hawkmoon back in D1, the Witherhoard Grenade Launcher. This bad boy comes in at a usage rate of just about 2.4% and has been a go-to part of my loadout inside Destiny since Season of Arrival's first dropped. Now, Witherhoard requires the Shadowkeep DLC to buy and is obtainable via the exotic kiosk in the tower. Once you get it, you should also see a catalyst quest from the gunsmith to further upgrade your new tool of destruction. For those that don't know what this weapon does, it shoots literal Taken Blight things that deal damage over time, whether when shot directly on an enemy or on the floor. It even has a perk, Break the Bank, which says that blighted targets take damage over time, and will drop said blight that you hit them with onto the floor when they die to kill even more targets. With Anarchy being nerfed, there's absolutely no telling why Witherhoard has skyrocketed in usage so much. That, and of course, it's such a fucking awesome gun. There's not much for me to elaborate on here with Witherhoard, just know it's my favorite exotic, and if it's not yours, then you've never tried it. Case in point. Moving on from Witherhoard, we have an exotic that frankly has me flabbergasted to see it so damn high on the list. Here at number 2, we have the Xenophage Heavy Machine Gun. Coming in with a usage rate of about 2.6%, this machine gun doesn't stop chugging, even after a completely unnecessary nerf to its RPM, dropping it from 120 to 90 with the launch of Season of the Lost. For those that don't know, Xenophage is a machine gun that fires pyrotoxin rounds, basically massive explosive bullets. It's unable to crit on enemies, but makes up for that in the base damage of said rounds. If you want to get your hands on it, you'll get a quest for it after completing the Shadowkeep campaign, and surprisingly, it has no catalyst. Now guys, if you're someone that uses Xenophage on a regular cadence, I'm gonna need you to take your cute ass down to the comment section and tell me why, because there's only 2 areas in the game that I ever think about using Xeno in. That's the Hexahedron encounter inside of Prophecy to deal with hobgoblins, and the Oracles encounter in VoG to one-shot the Oracles as they spawn. Aside from those 2 encounters, I can't even think of any other time I've ever even wanted to have this weapon equipped, especially since the nerf. Regardless though, Xeno is great. I'm just a little salty that there's some absolute goofy goobers out there that are using this thing more than Witherhoard. Regardless though, Xeno takes the number 2 spot let's move on to number 1. Alright guys, the moment we've all been waiting for. What mysterious weapon could be taking up the number 1 spot for the most used exotic in all of Destiny 2 PvE for Season of the Lost, you may ask? Well, allow me to show you. Yes, the 1,000 Voices is here at the top spot of number 1 for the list. Was there any doubt? Absolutely not. 1K Voices comes from the end chest in the Forsaken Raid Last Wish and is at a whopping 5.25% usage rate. And that's pretty much double of our number 2 spot. To put it simply, 1K Voices just makes the most sense out of any weapon currently in the sandbox in regards to just dealing a shitload of damage. Now, while not doing as much as Sleeper Simulant, it has ease of use up its sleeve to make it a more popular option despite being harder to get and being locked behind a DLC. Particle Deconstruction requires multiple hits to apply max debuff. What does 1K do? Applies multiple hits of damage before the real damage even begins. This means you can both charge the debuff of Particle Deconstruction and benefit greatly from it all in the same weapon and all on the same shot. 1K is currently used in pretty much every area of the game, from raids to GMs to dungeons, especially Prophecy, and just everything in between. It's the all-in-one package that any player in D2 can benefit from so long as they have the weapon. It 100% deserves the top spot, but if 1K doesn't receive a buff once Particle Deconstruction is gone, I don't expect it to linger around the top 10 area much longer. But guys, that's gonna do it for today's video. I'm super sorry that this video has taken so long to get out. As I said at the beginning today, I took a break from the internet and social media recently, and that kind of sort of put a halt on things. I'm back now, and that's all that matters. I haven't made a video in a while, so I wanted to put tons of extra effort into today's upload, and hopefully, the YouTube algorithm doesn't bomb this video simply because I haven't uploaded in a minute. Regardless though, as always, if you're watching the video at this point, thank you so much for the massive support. Watch time is YouTube's favorite meal, so I appreciate you for supporting the content. With that said, let's go ahead and hop into the comment of the day. I haven't done this in a while, and it feels good to be back. And today's comment of the day comes from XBluesman1985, and he says, "Cream of the crop, chillin' in my drop top," or maybe a crop top. Maybe nothing but flip-flops. I don't know where I was going with all that, but I thoroughly enjoy all your content. You don't try to fit the mold and be like all the other streamers. You stay true to yourself, and that's why I dig your videos. Would love to see some of your Grandmaster Nightfall adventures. And to that, I say thank you so much for the kind words. I sort of try to stay in my own bubble here in the Destiny community, as I'm not really friends with many content creators that are around. Not because I don't want to be, it's mainly because people have no idea who I am. But regardless, I'm glad you enjoy my content. And to reply to the last thing about GM Nightfall Adventures, I actually stream on Twitch a few times a week, and you can see the link down in the description to that if you are interested, although I completely understand if live streams aren't your thing. Anyways, thanks for the comment, and if any of you guys that are watching would like to be the next comment of the day, make sure you feature the word chair in some way, shape, or form in your comment, and I'll pick it for the next video. I got a new chair recently, not sponsored by the way, this isn't a plug. I just like to commemorate the occurrence, and well, it was over $300, and I'm only able to afford things like this because of you guys and your support on these videos, so thank you, and my back thanks you as well. Anyways guys, thank you all so much for watching today's video. I'll try not to leave you all hanging for so long next time, as I got plenty more ideas to upload before the 30th anniversary event. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.